welcome to my thoughts while standing in the queue. Today I was at the pharmacy standing in line to get a sedative so that I could withstand the hustle and bustle of modern society. And while I was standing there, I was thinking about overexcited women. Orson Welles said, "There is nothing more disgusting than cold coffee, lukewarm champagne, or overexcited women." Well, I have to say, I am an overexcited woman. And I would hate to think that Orson Welles wouldn't have been able to tolerate me because I think he was wonderful. I have to say, though, that he is really right because when I think back on my relationships with men, I realize that it's my overexcitement that has stifled those relationships and made them wilt. For example, with my first husband, I met him the day he left Korea, and I was the first woman he had seen in 2 years that could speak English. He was so overjoyed at being understood that he instantly proposed to me, and I was so overjoyed at somebody not being put off by me that I instantly accepted. My poor innocent husband expected me to do exactly what all the Korean women had done for him while he was in the service. He expected lovely stir-fry meals, he expected a lot of subservience, and he expected me to give him a blowjob whenever the occasion warranted. Somehow, I just didn't fit the bill. And my excitement at things like his getting a paycheck, which was so rare that it was like a moment in time, or my making a cake that didn't fall flat on in its pan, just simply put him off. And finally, he got himself a degree from Harvard and left as fast as he could. The second husband was even worse. The second husband was able to tolerate me for exactly 3 months before he called my father and he said, "Would you please get this maniac out of my house?" My father said, "Well, we don't want her either. She jumps around and makes so much noise that the last time she was here, she spoiled our favorite television program and we never found out who was the father of the lady's child." However, he did take me back, and I did learn to calm down enough so they didn't murder me in my home. I realize that it's very difficult for men to absorb the fact that some women are just very excited with life and love the good things and are very verbal about it. But I never realized how offensive I was. I thought it was just the marriage certificate that put them off and the responsibilities that go with it. I mean, they probably looked at me and said, "Oh my God, we've got to support her. Let's get out of this as fast as we can." However, when I took a creative writing course at San Francisco State, I discovered that it really is my personality that puts men off. No doubt about it. I was taking creative writing from a very, very famous novelist named Michael. And if you've read a novelist about birds and bells by a man named Michael, you'll know about whom I speak. I read every single book that this man wrote, and I couldn't stop telling him how wonderful his books were, how beautiful his phrasing, how lovely his imagery. But instead of saying thank you, or instead of even just nodding and going on to talk to someone else, he asked me, would I please transfer classes? I was absolutely impossible, and he couldn't stand having me in his class. Actually, this makes me very sad, but I have to say it hasn't dampened my enthusiasm. I still get excited at little things like a flower that actually blooms in May instead of waiting around in Great Britain until July when it's warm enough for it not to die of frostbite. I get very, very thrilled when I do something like eat a balanced meal, something I've never done, or stay sober after 2 glasses of wine. These things excite me to the point where I'm liable to jump around and even wave my hands in the air. I realize that for men, this is very, very difficult to absorb. And since I am heterosexual and like to attract men, I thought, well, maybe what I should do is get a t-shirt with a slogan that warns them what they are getting into. For example, I can say, "I am to you what cold coffee was to Orson Welles." And if they don't get that, that's a little obtuse. I could also say, "Come to me, darling. I am only worth 5 minutes, but it's 5 minutes you will never forget." Funny thing, though, women don't seem to mind my excitement. In fact, they often share it. It's all in the way you were born, isn't it?